Hello world, welcome to Rex Arthur TV. This is the Rex Arthur Show where we discuss LGBTQ issues with an LGBTQ perspective and an LGBTQ approach in an LGBTQ plus planet where each and every one of us belongs to one or more of letters in the 10-letter sexual alphabet LGBTQIAAP. And I hope you're fine. This is Rex Arthur. Again, it seems Friday looks like it's going to become a Rex Arthur marathon or a RAM. RAM means we ram through and we do as many videos as we can. Basically, these days I'm a bit busy, so sometimes when I get free time to post videos, I post. And at the same time, when I'm busy, I'm not able to post videos. So I have a very relaxed system. I do what I can whenever I have time to do it. And so today we are going to do heteronormativity and homonormativity. Of course, I've been trying to do the show, but because it's a marathon video and whenever I'm not online for some time, I end up diverting. So you'll find some of the videos, the previous ones we've done, they were like we're supposed to discuss heteronormativity and homonormativity, but my mind goes to something else that really needs to be discussed. And so we have already done that in totality in the climate change video and the telecommunications video, which, as you've seen, it was a long one. Yes, because it's a very important subject which we want to discuss and really cover very well. And moreover, of course, we want to also discuss Angola has just accepted decriminalized gay sex. That is great news for Africa, and we want to shout for joy, and we'll do that in one video, and then we'll end the marathon of the day. Now, this heteronormativity and homonormativity came about when I was looking at society, and I realized that we are people who either come from a heteronormative setting or a homonormative setting. However, naturally, the world is naturally heteronormative. What I mean by that is that the world is naturally diverse. It's ironic that heterosexuals are found in the diverse scheme of things, but they don't understand homosexuals. And one reason could be is because they are so used to living in a heteronormative life, and their sex life is very heteronormative, being heterosexual, so they don't get to understand gay people. This is why Ellen said a very beautiful point about gay people, that guys were accusing Ellen that you guys are gay because people told you to be gay. No, and she said no. For information, most gay people grew up with straight TV. Yeah, we grew up watching straight TV. The first porn I knew was straight porn. So, but did it make me straight? No, I am gay. So, and that's what she was saying, that just because you watch straight TV doesn't mean you will become straight. And just because you hear gay marriage in the society doesn't mean you become gay. It's just that you should recognize the different persons in the society. So it was a very brilliant quote by Ellen DeGeneres, and we are grateful. It seems to be the common setting, but it's not. At the same time, homonormativity is a natural setting, but it's not that common because not every setting is homonormative. And because the world is becoming more and more realizing of diversity, the whole attitude of homonormativity is disappearing. Now, homonormativity is not just homosexuality, it is also homogeneity, it is also homosociality, and it is also anything to do with same pictures, same realizations, and same settings. And then you have heterosociality and heterogeneity. That is where the world is most of the time because of diversity. When a lion sleeps with a cow, that is heterogeneity. When a goat sleeps with a snake, that is heterogeneity. When a goat sleeps with a fellow goat, that is homogeneity. When a sheep sleeps with a sheep, that is homogeneity, and therefore homonormativity. But it's not necessarily homosexuality, because homosexuality means the same sex having sex together. And then heterosexuality is different sexes having sex together. Now, when you have children in your family, like let's say you're a family and you choose to have children, or you have children, because having children is not a must. Yes, you can be a couple, or you can be single and you don't have children. And you can be a single parent and you decide to adopt a child. And you can be a couple and you decide to have children either reproductively or through adoption. So there's a lot of freedom. Do what you want. These days I don't put pressure on anybody that they should do something when it comes to children. It is your choice. You can choose to have children or not to have children. And secondly, you can be in a situation whereby you may not have children. But whichever situation you're in, when you have children, you may have children of the same sex. And when they are of the same sex, you will have a homonormative home. And when you have children of different sexes, you can have a heteronormative home. Then you can also have children of the same sexual orientation. So you may have, because you may have girls and all the girls happen to be lesbian. Yes. So not only do you have a homogeneous home, but even in sexual orientation, your children tend to be homogeneous. Or you just have gay boys in your gay sons. And then you can have children who are mixed sexual orientation. One child is gay, the other one is straight, the other one is a transgender, the other one is bisexual, the other one is queer. Yes, you can have a lot of diversity in sexual orientation in your family. So sometimes when you have such a situation, parenting in such situations is very different, because you will have children who, parenting a girl child is not parenting a boy child. And then parenting a gay child is not parenting a straight child. And parenting a transgender child is not parenting a bisexual child, which is why, thankfully to knowledge and science, we have got to know the diversity of children, and we are able to know our children's sexual orientations at a very early stage of life. Now, of course, I talked about omnisexuality and the omnisexual letters in the LGBTQ or the sexual alphabet. They are sexual orientations which do not need, which you may not know later. And these are the omnisexual sexual orientations. What I mean by omnisexual, they are physiological sexual orientations. Of course, all of them are physiological, but they are physiologically deciphered or known at birth. When a child is born intersex, you will know at birth. And there's even a very nice movie called Intersection, and it talks about intersex people and how when they were born, some hospitals deliberately hid the fact that they were intersex because of the stigma that could be placed on the child when they grow up. One of the stories was one child who was born with a vagina and the penis. They chopped the penis. And when the child grew up, they really felt like there was something missing in their life. And then they found out that their penis was removed. You see, that was wrong. So the argument in the video or the movie was, what should doctors really intervene in the sexuality of an intersex child, or they should let the intersex child live, and then when they grow up they can come and say, you know what, I prefer living as a man even though I have a vagina and I have a penis. I think I would let me remove my vagina, I mean, let me remove my penis and I live as a woman, even though I was born with both a vagina and a penis. So it was a very good movie. Of course, they didn't answer the question fully because it's a legal situation, and also because intersex children are very few in the world. So they really, and I tend to not, I tend to dislike the legal system that is so fixated on numbers. You know, the problem of most legal systems in the world, they are very fixated on numbers. So if it's very few people, if something concerns very few people is involved, they don't look at it, they don't pay attention to it. But in my view, every situation is important. This, even if it is for one person. You know, the court is supposed to administer justice for everybody, even a small group of persons. So do not discriminate against a person because they come from a group that is so small and so meager, and very many people don't know about them. No, everybody matters in the society, and everybody in the society, including the majority, should know that there is a minority like that, so that they can understand. Because one day you will meet an intersex person. What are you going to do? Are you going to kill them? No. You have to respect them, take care of them, understand them. So this is why I support the recognition and the awareness of people in the society. I support societal awareness of every minority group in our society. LGBTQ persons, we need to know they exist. Albinos, we need to know they exist. Blind people, we need to know they exist. Special needs people, we need to know they exist. Every person, every cluster of persons, we need to know they exist. Because if you don't, you will have a system that could be oppressing them and makes things not working. You see, that's why I support people who come out and say, this is my sexuality. Yes, people need to be aware that we have somebody who is like this, so that they can decide amongst themselves, will we live with them or we won't live with them. You see why religion is having a very tough time? It's because they have religions that were very exclusive. People think the Bible is an inclusive religion. No, it's not. It's not an inclusive religion. In fact, Christianity tried to be inclusive and is still having issues with inclusion. Because unlike Jesus, who was very inclusive, the disciples were not. Because when the disciples started setting up churches, if you are a sinner, you are not allowed in church. I think that system very, very exclusive. If you are known to sin, you are not allowed to come to church. Because their theory was sinners cause sin to flourish in the church, and they didn't want that. So if you are very sexually immoral, they'll chase you. And that's wrong. That's not how Jesus did it. Because when Jesus was preaching, he never chased and looked for people. I saw you yesterday. Get out. Go. You are sleeping around. Come out of this. I don't want you to listen. No. Jesus used to teach every day to everybody. Even his enemies had him. So, I don't know what happened to the disciples. they changed the format, it was because they were now creating a religion called Christianity. Remember, Jesus didn't say he's a Christian. Never forget that. He never said he was a Christian. And the only time Jesus was exclusive was when the Syrophoenician woman came to him and she asked him to heal, I think, her daughter or her son. And Jesus said, I have only come for the lost sheep of Israel. And she said that even the dogs eat from the master's table. So Jesus said, I've never seen such great faith from you. You know? I think either he called her a dog, and then she said, well, even dogs eat from the master's table. So Jesus was so shocked. So what am I trying to say? Even Jesus, being a human being, he was also very exclusive. He was not a Gentile. He was a Jew. And he was so passionate of the Jewish politics and the Jewish desire to have a Messiah. So that's why I'm saying when you read the Bible, if you read it very humanistically, oh my God, your views about Christianity will change. You'll even find the flaws Jesus had. Remember, Jesus never said he was good. Mm-mm. He only said God is good, not him. He just said he was the son of God, but he didn't say he was good. Then when the guy said, how can I be good and enter? And then he said, who said you're good? Nobody is good but God. That's what he said. Oh yeah, the guy asked him, good teacher. He called him good teacher. He said, why are you calling me that? You see, very nice question. So Jesus was also exclusive to that extent. He was exclusive to the Gentiles, but he was not exclusive to anybody. Sexual orientation and whether you're a sinner or not. In fact, he loved staying with people who are seen to be sinners. Those were his best friends. And his other friend called John the Baptist was opposite. He never spent time with the so-called sinners, but he was still hated. He was killed. If you go to my theological channel, QSTPS, we have discussed that very well. And we've said Jesus and John the Baptist did not die because of the miracles they did. They died because of the words they spoke. That's why they died. So what does that tell you? Speech is very powerful. It can even lead to your death. And remember, even Martin Luther King Jr., they even have his day. Can you imagine? He has a day, not because he performed miracles. It is because of what he said with his mouth. He said powerful things that provoked the thinking of human beings to now start looking at black people equally and with human eyes, not with discriminative eyes or eyes of hate. So he was killed, Martin Luther King, for what he said and what he wrote, for words. And that's the same thing that happened to Jesus. That's the same thing that happened to John the Baptist. They died because of what they said, not because of what they did. Because if Jesus was just a healer, believe you me, he would not have been killed. People want to be healed, but people don't like their systems being messed up. They don't like that. People coming to preach to them, tell them change, 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 and they are liking what they are doing. You see, that one, they will even kill you. And that's what happened. Jesus said he was the Son of God, and they were like, if you are the Son of God, why don't you save us from the Romans? You see, if you are the Son of God, and to them it was blasphemy. They had the blasphemy laws, so they fought them. Okay, enough of that. You know, religion is so funny. When you start talking about it, you can stay there. Now, let's finish this heteronormativity. At least this is a very scientific video, so that's why it's straightforward. We haven't delayed. And yeah, so heteronormativity, back to what we are saying. What is the basis of heteronormativity and homonormativity? Let's go to the dictionary. You see, that's what I was saying about language. The problem of the world is that the problem of the world is is language. Because if you ask, I've been asking myself questions philosophically. Was God really speaking a language with Adam and Eve? What were they talking? What language were they talking? And secondly, um, if they were talking a language, how did they learn the language? You know? So sometimes we ask yourself questions. Then thirdly, if they had a language, I mean, they didn't go to school. How did they go? How did they acquire that language they spoke with God and the serpent? So what was the language Satan knew? What was the language? You know, that's what I question. And then I also question the fact that when I'm questioning, I believe things come first before things come first before language. The world and the sun existed before they got the name. Everything in the world that existed before language came existed before the language. So language is a late comer in very many things. Even when you make, do you know the first computer was not called computer until it was made? You see? It's like a baby. You don't name an unborn baby, though that happened with Jesus. They say that he'll be born, and when he's born, he will give him the name Jesus. So that one is the exception. Of course, every general rule has an exception, but generally, you don't name something that doesn't exist because you don't know if it will exist. So you wait for the thing to exist, then you give it a name. So that's what I'm trying to say. Language comes after a thing. Now, because of that, we have a very bad assumption, a very, okay, not bad, just a weak thinking that the language we use is perfect. It's not perfect. This is why English is a living language, so that it can correct itself when changes come into the society. But most of the languages of the world are dead. They are dead languages. So they don't look at the changes in society. So that's what people really need to know about the world. It's weird. Okay, let's go on. Now, the word norm, heteronormativity and homonormativity come from the word norm. And norm means an accepted standard or a way of behaving or doing things that most people agree with. Norm, a situation or type of behavior that is expected and considered to be typical. And it also comes from the word normal, ordinary, or usual, the same as would be expected. So a norm is a way or a standard of behaving. It's a behavior standard. It's a system. So when you say heteronormativity, it is the way heterosexuals live their life. And homonormativity is the way homosexuals live their life. But alternatively, heteronormativity could just mean the normal way, a normalcy that involves heterogeneity, mixture of heterogeneity. And homonormativity means a way of homogeneous behavior. Now, like cultural homogeneity is very common. When you belong to one tribe or ethnic group, you speak one language. That speaking of one language is homogeneous. It is the principle of homogeneity because you speak one language and you are born in that tribe. Now, heterogeneity means you can speak a language that is not yours. It's not your language, but you can speak it. So that is a heterogeneous situation whereby somebody of a different tribe is speaking a language of another tribe. So, like if you're a Zulu and you speak German, that is a heterogeneous situation. because you are speaking a language that does not necessarily belong to your language group. But if you are a Zulu who speaks Zulu, that is a homogeneous situation and therefore a homonormative situation. And so heterogeneity is seen when you do something with something that is different from you, and homogeneity is when you do something that is same with you. That's what you need to understand. Now, that is what you need to know about the society we live in. We are a mixture of heteronormativity and homonormativity. Now, when you are a child who has grown up with the one sex, like you're a boy and you have four brothers, you have grown through a homonormative situation. So there are some boys, they grow up in a home that has four boys, then they go to school. It is also a homogeneous school, meaning it's only boys. Then they graduate. So they have a way, but it doesn't mean they will become gay. That's what I want you to understand. Homonormativity is not necessarily homosexual sex, but it means you spend time with the same sex, enough time. And heteronormativity means you spend time with the opposite sex, enough time. But you can be gay and you spend time in a heteronormative situation, or you are in a heterosexual environment. What I mean by heterogeneous environment, you can be a gay hairdresser and you do the hair of women and you're a man. That can happen. Then you can be a woman, a nurse, a lesbian nurse, and you take care of men. That's so it is heterogeneous, but it doesn't change your sexuality. So that's what you need to understand about the heteronormativity. Heteronormativity doesn't mean you are heterosexual. It just means the environment you're in is very mixed up. So that's why I've told you the world is more heteronormative than homonormative, because we have different races, different genders, different everything. Even the LGBTQ standard is actually heteronormative. It is not homonormative. Because if the LGBTQ standard was homonormative, then it would have been just L. Everybody's a lesbian, you see. Or G, everybody is gay. Or B, everybody is bisexual. Or T, everyone is transgender. But it's not like that. It is a heterogeneous standard. The world is heteronormative in that sense, in the sexuality sense. So why do LGBTQ activists fight, or LGBTQ philosophers, why do we fight heteronormativity? Because the understanding of heteronormativity in LGBTQ philosophy is the the system of doing things in the heterosexual mold that is discriminatory to the gay population. Then, secondly, for information, straight people can tolerate gay people. That is why we call them allies. Lupita Nyong'o is an ally. She is not gay. She's an ally. Now, why is she an ally? She is a straight person who tolerates gay people. That's what we call Lupita Nyong'o. When they did Black Panther, people were complaining that there was no representation of LGBTQ persons, and I told them on Facebook, no, Lupita Nyong'o was there, but as an ally. She is not gay, she's just an ally. She tolerates gay people. So that's what you explain in heteronormative philosophy, it's that heteronormativity is not an enemy, much as homophobia is an enemy. Homophobia is the enemy, it's not heteronormativity. That's what you need to understand about the life. That's why Lupita and very many allies are many people who have not come out and have not told us what their sexuality is. They remain, but they support gay people. They are allies. That's what people need to understand. Now, the heterogeneous, the homogeneous people, or the homonormativity is a situation whereby it can be one sex together. Now, homonormativity is also natural. Yes, it is also natural, and it should not be seen as artificial. People think it's artificial. By no means. I've told you, you can have a family whereby only boys are born or only girls are born. So that will be a homonormative house. Then the boy, after school, attending a same sex school, goes and joins the army. That is also a homonormative situation. So basically, the boy has grown up with one sex and can only deal with that sex. This is why it's understandable why the some I know people are against gay couples, but they're against them parenting, gay parenting, but they're against them for a wrong reason. You see, homonormativity is as natural as heteronormativity. That's what you need to know. Then, secondly, so what does this mean? You cannot attack gay couples if you don't attack straight couples. You cannot attack gay parents and not attack straight parents. All of them have their weaknesses and their strengths. Like a homonormative parent, whereby the parents are both lesbians, it there is more peace in the family because the children will not see a lot of complaint and violence in the home like in a heterosexual parent situation. There are more squabbles in heterosexual couples than there are in homosexual couples. There are more squabbles in heterogeneous couples than there are in homogeneous couples. So children who grow up in a homogeneous society or in a homogeneous home will not see a lot of violence compared to those born in a heterogeneous or a heteronormative home. And the reason why there's more problems or more clashes in a heteronormative or heterogeneous setting is simple. They are different. They see things differently. They think differently. So this is why it's very important. You need to know your sexual orientation so that you know whom you are going to settle with in life. Rather, I'm tired of seeing these things where someone is gay, but to bless the society, quote unquote, or to hide their sexuality, they go and marry a straight person. Then life becomes a living hell because of that decision in the name of society. No. Do you found out your sexual orientation? Find a person of your sexual orientation and stay with them if you want to marry. As simple as that. But don't do something in the name of pleasing society and then you have chaos in the family. Reason, you guys are not the same. When it comes to sexuality, you don't rhyme at all. This person does not even know you are like that. You've gone there to hide. Yes, that's wrong. Because you're going to see chaos. The children, don't think children are stupid. They will start studying their parents and noticing there's something weird about daddy and mommy. And then they decide to leave. Or one of the spouses can realize the sexuality of them and then they say we should divorce. You see? Look at Jeff Bezos. Imagine now he has been dropped down the list of the richest men of the world just because of divorce. So you see how powerful divorce is. So Know yourself, know whom you're going to join with. Of course, I don't attack divorce. Divorce is part of life. It is also natural to divorce. Yes, just as it's natural to marry, it's natural to divorce. So don't attack divorcees. You see, this is why we are insisting on infusing science in the churches, so that they don't make people hate on divorcees. You know that you're a divorcee, so you can't take communion, you're a bad person. You're really inflicting more pain on that person. Just let them understand that it happens. That is what divorce is, part of life. So back to heterogeneous and heterogeneity and heteronormativity. So the reason of doing this video is trying to make people understand that we live in a heteronormative world, meaning a world which includes both men and women. Even in the gender equality war and gender equality justice, there needs to be a realization. What is the makeup of the world? The makeup of the world is that the world has diverse sexualities and diverse genders. So that is the reality. So because that's the reality, it should be reflected. This is now what you call legal realism. Legal realism is to discover the reality on the ground and then shape laws that reflect that reality. The problem of most ancient kingdoms, like Israel with Moses, is that they had no legal realism. They made laws that were fighting reality. That's why they never worked. The worst laws in the world are those that fight reality. Reality is men have sex with men. Yes, much as they can have sex with women, men have sex with men. Now, it is stupidity to make a law against that reality, because it will still go on. It's stupidity. So to cancel that stupidity, you have to have legal realism. Now, come to the women issue. Like it's a lot in Africa. In Africa, most men are seen to be politicians, because that's how politics is. But the problem that's happening in the political world is not a problem or a reality. Let's now start calling problems reality. No more problems. They're just realities and we solve them. The reality is, the population of women is increasing in the society, but their access to power is being limited. So this is causing a lot of anger amongst women, because they feel like they are being oppressed, they are being ruled by an elite, a gender elite, because they are more than men, and so they are crying for a piece of cake in the power table. So the legal realism is create positions for women to be part of the power table or the power cake. Now, like in countries like Uganda and Kenya, they have what you call the woman representative. This is a woman leader who is elected amongst the people. And that's a very good position to help women to be part of the leadership cake. It should not go anywhere. Sometimes there are arguments that they should remove it. I say no, keep it there, because number one, there are more women than men in very many administrative units. So what does this mean? Women issues will be more placed in the office of the politician, even if he's a man. You see? So actually the woman representative helps the man to deal with female issues, you know? Because how many women will be knocking at his door and saying, "Oh, I have this issue, my child, menstruation, all these, they want female circumcision." So you are there, you're a male politician, you are like, so what you do when you have a female representative, when you get female issues, send them to the female rep. and she takes care of them. Now, what's going to happen if the female, if the politician happens to be a female, and the there is only a woman representative and not a man representative? That's what's going to happen. You see, gender equity is based when there's gender injustice. If it's shown that injustice is also being attacked, is being placed on men because they are men, then that is when that situation will be solved, when you now have a man representative. So this is a leader who deals with the male problems in the society. Then the main politician can be man or woman. They are general. Then you have the woman representative and the man representative. But because of the nature of men to be very quiet about their problems, and not and ego, because man has a big ego, so he can't come down and say I have problems. They would rather die in them than tell you they have problems. So because of that, it's very far-fetched to have a man representative, because people wonder, what type of man is that? But however, there are men like that. You see, this is what society needs to do. They have to come and discuss the fact that not all men are the same. There are men who are strong and there are men who are weak. There are feminine men, there are masculine men. And feminine men do not react like masculine men. That's what people need to understand. This is why the world is going through what you call individualization. Individualization and diversity is what the world is going through, because each and every one of us is a scientific specimen. We are a specimen of study. And next thing, another thing you need to understand about humans, we are unique. And because of that uniqueness, the way we respond to situations is not the way another person will respond to a situation, because of that uniqueness. So uniformity is very artificial, same to homogeneity, or yes, same to homogeneity, and same to homonormativity, because it's not, or even if it's natural, it's not that common, because men are different, women are different. Not all women think the same, and because of individualization that is increasing thanks to the ultra capitalism that the world is going through, people the basic unit of society is now an individual. It's not even a family, because an individual on himself is very powerful. Yes, you don't need a family to be powerful, you just need to be one person. That's what I'm telling you, is a fact. So that's what you need to know that's happening in the world. As time is going on, we will there will be so many identity clusters that everyone will be judged as the content of his character. Remember what Martin Luther King said? You should not be judged by the color of your skin. Why? Because the color of your skin is a general identification cluster. There are more than 1 billion black people. That's a general identification. So, because there are more than 1 billion black people, if you judge people by the color of their skin, and you happen to be judging a black person, then you will say all the 1 billion plus blacks are bad, because you're judging them by general identification. So Martin Luther King Jr. said, don't judge people generally, judge them specifically. And that is what you call individualization. So that's where the world is headed. We are headed to that one of individualization and not collectivism. It's gone. It's gone. LGBTQ movement is the movement of that is going to lead, that has led to individualization. Yes, we are headed. Do you know, when the LGBT movement under Obama has individual was less individual than now under Trump? I'll tell you why. Before, when it was Obama's time, nobody knew LGBTQ persons on the right. All LGBTQ persons were on the left. They were Democrats. Now, under Trump, something happened very strange. Now you have LGBTQ persons on the right and LGBTQ persons on the left. That is individualization of the LGBTQ movement. So there are some lesbians who are on the right, some lesbians on the left, some right, some lesbians in the center, some gays on the right, some gays on the left, some gays on the center, some intersex on the right, some intersex on the left, some intersex on the center. That's what has happened. Then we are now going to go to another era where it will be more individualization of these people. Now, on the right, there's somebody who's on the right, he doesn't support climate change, that doesn't see climate change as real, but supports you having a gun. Then, let's say there are two lesbians. Now, okay, let's start with three lesbians. And then we are ending the video. Three lesbians are friends. One lesbian was a Democrat. Then they were all of these three lesbians were Democrats in 2014 when Obama was still president. Then 2016 comes, and then two of the lesbians say, no, I think the Republicans are nice because Trump is a billionaire, he's a rich man, so let's stay with him. And then the lesbian, who is a Democrat, she's angry and says, what, you guys, I don't want to have anything to do with you guys anymore. Our friendship is over because you know Republicans are bad to us. So leave me alone. So the lesbian Democrat leaves this friendship and the two lesbians remain. And then the election comes and then Trump won the election 2016. So now there are two lesbians on the right, and they're saying, "Wow, he won, he won." So they say, "Oh yeah, now let's go back home. Let's go drink. Let's go eat. Let's forget about Sasha. Sasha didn't know what she was talking about. She wants to stay with Democrats, and we know Hillary. Yeah. So Peggy and Anna go to the house, and these are two lesbians on the right. Then they start eating very well. 2 years pass. Then now the government shutdown has happened. Then Anna starts telling Peggy, why is Trump doing this? He's hurting the workers in the government. And then Peggy says, no, he has to build a wall. And then Anna says, no, you don't do it that way. You have to be considerate of the workers in the government. So don't then Peggy says, are you turning your back against Trump? And then Anna says, well, if it's going to be like that, I will turn against Trump. And then Peggy says, well, then I don't need to be your friend anymore. It's over. And Anna says, oh, really? It's over? Fine. I never knew you were so inconsiderate about people. And then Anna leaves Peggy, and Peggy stays alone. That is what the world is headed to individualization. Because now, even in the LGBTQ right, people will it is there's something that's happening in the world. We want to rule ourselves. You see, we want to have self-independence. We don't want someone to rule our thoughts. So you will only have a friend who will support your thoughts. However, we are getting to a point whereby you can't even control your own friend. Yes, because your friend is so self-opinionated, they have their own ideas of what it makes the world perfect. And nobody wants to bow down, to humble themselves to someone's view. Because if your friend tells you, no, just stay with Trump because he's going to build a wall. But you're not bothered about the wall. You're bothered about the shutdown. That this president is not thinking about the workers in the government. So you see what happens? Lesbian Anna leaves lesbian Peggy, and they are all alone. Individualization. So this is why more and more people are going to remain single as time goes by. Not because of anything, but because people are becoming more and more independent minded. Everybody wants to do their own thing. And the best way to do it is when you are alone, independent. So that's what's going to happen. And it's the road to individualization. Reason being the heterogeneous nature of the world. We are all heterogeneous in thinking because we didn't have the same life. That's what you need to know. My life is so unique. Nobody has lived my life. Nobody, absolutely nobody has lived my life. So when I have a friend, we are in a heterogeneous situation when it comes to life because our lives are totally different. We didn't live the same way, we don't do the same things. So the world is going back to the individual basis, and whereby individuals will be making connections with individuals, not communities making connections with communities. That is gone. That is gone. It has already gone. That's why in the American election 2020, there will be very many presidential candidates. Wait, it's the end of Democrat and Republican. They are gone. And Andrew Yang is there with his basic income. He is the champion of individualization. And actually, I was laughing at Andrew Yang's candidature, not in a bad way, in a philosophical way. Andrew means man, masculine power. And Yang means masculine power in Chinese. And I was like, what a name. This is a sign that the world is going back to machodom. Yes, watch it. Watch it very, very, very carefully. Because the scenario could be with this war between Democrats and Republicans, these small parties will get power. And 2020 or even 2024, you will see where Andrew Yang will go. People may listen to Andrew Yang, or Andrew Yang may be the what you call offsetter. He may take a lot of voters away from one of the candidates. So America is still in a precarious situation. So what am I trying to say? American politics is coming to change, and there will be no more two parties. There will be three parties. Yes, the transhumanists also have their party, and they no joke. Yes, they are a very strong movement growing. They are also coming up. So what are you trying to say? What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that American political landscape has changed because of individualization. People now have a picture of what they make the world, how to make the world. And that's why I'm going to do another video called The Clash of Theories and Ideologies. It has come, and we are in it. And where we have reached, people don't want to side with a theory or an ideology that does not side with theirs. Coming up now.